Alright, next up we have our 5.1 warm-up. Draw a square and a rectangle, and it's suggesting that we use a ruler. So a square, we need to start, and I'm just going to go with one that's 1.5 centimeters long. Nice and simple. I'm going to use my protractor to make sure that I'm hitting my 90 degrees by placing a dot up there, and now I need to draw 1.5 centimeters off this corner towards that dot. Obviously it's not going to reach that dot because it's a long ways up, but 1.5 centimeters takes me to right there. And I'm just going to go around the square just like that, making sure that I hit 90 degrees on each of these lines using my protractor. Create another dot over there, another 1.5 centimeters towards that dot. And then I should actually be able to just join those two end points up. And they are measuring to be 1.5 centimeters, which is good. So there, now I've got a square and I know that those are 90-degree angles. A rectangle, we can do the same sort of thing. I will go 2 centimeters this way, and then maybe, well, I need to go 90 degrees. So I'll find my 90-degree mark. This one maybe I'll do 2 centimeters by 1 centimeter for my rectangle. So off that end point, move towards the dot that I put down, and I'll go 1 centimeter. And I'll do the same thing over on this end here. Find my 90 degrees. Draw 1 centimeter up from there towards the dot. And then I should be able to join those two endpoints safely. And I know that everything in here is 90 degrees as well. Actually, I'll mark all 4 corners in each of these. So that's one way to draw a rectangle. Now, we've got something here called isometric dot paper to make it a little bit easier to draw 3-dimensional shapes. Those were just 2-dimensional shapes that we started with. Now we're going to look at 3-dimensional shapes. So there's some examples here in the cloud on how to draw a cube, for instance. So step 1, you want to look probably and draw the front face. And I'm not going to use a ruler at this point. I can draw fairly straight between these dots. So if you're looking at it a little bit from the side, this could be the front of your cube. This is not a square, and you're not going to have squares when you use isometric dot paper. You're going to have a 3-dimensional shape on a 2D piece of paper. So it has to be a little bit different. So if that's the front, and this is a cube, and each face on the front is 1 dot to 1 dot, then I'm going to go 1 dot backwards as well. And I can actually draw a few different edges there. And then join those up. Just like that. And now this looks like a cube. It's a 3-dimensional representation of a cube on a 2D surface. Rectangular prism, you can do very much the same thing. Maybe I'll do a bigger one. I'll go 2 dots high by 3 dots. No, we'll go 4 dots across. Again, 2 dots high, 4 dots across. And I could go 1 deep from each of these vertices again. So that's one possibility of a rectangular prism. I do see a drawing here off on the side that I hadn't noticed before. Looks like it's a rectangular prism that maybe has a slightly different shape that we can draw, where the top of it looks like that, the bottom looks like this. So you could draw it that way. If you wanted to, you could take another color maybe. You could draw the back sides of the prisms as well. You could show that you know the other edges are hidden in behind. You could do it that way. Just like I could throw that in there. Now the other pink, the back edge, you won't see through it. You might see that there. So it's going to take some practice drawing on isometric dot paper, but go ahead and do that. There's a fair bit of space here. I drew a small cube, you could draw a bigger cube. The choice is yours. So another thing to consider here is drawing the top, front, and side view of your cube and your rectangular prism. Well, the top, and I'll just label this up here with a T, is just that, it's a square. And this is just freehand. And then the front, well, that's also a square. And the side, well, that's also a square. Now over here, this is my top, this is my front, this is my side. So my top here was longer, and my front was a little bit deeper, and the side was deep but shallow. So that's the first one. The second one that I drew, my top was just a square. My front was a long rectangle, and my side was actually the same. So depending on what you drew, your top, front, and side views may change. On a cube, they should all be squares. On your rectangular prism, you can see that it may take different forms depending on what proportions you gave your prism. All right, number 4, circle the diagram that shows a 90-degree clockwise rotation. All right, so remembering that a clock, the hands move in this direction. So that's what we call clockwise. Counterclockwise is going in the other direction. So not like a clock. So circle the diagram that shows a 90-degree clockwise rotation. So we've got arrows. This one is going in a clockwise rotation. This one is going in the other direction. So that's counterclockwise. And this is a 90-degree angle, and so is this. So they're both 90-degree rotations, but this one's counterclockwise and this one's clockwise. So we're looking for clockwise, we're going to circle A. That's what we're looking for. All right, next up is section 5.1.